All right, let's talk about a company you definitely know, Comcast. For what feels like forever, this media and internet giant has been an absolute juggernaut. But right now, it's at a serious crossroads, and it's facing a battle for its future. So, what is really going on with Comcast?
And this is where it gets interesting, because here's the paradox. Comcast is still a huge, wildly profitable company. It's in tens of millions of our homes. And yet, its stock has been getting hammered. So what gives? Why is Wall Street so down on this household name? Well, if you take a look at the stock chart, you can see the problem pretty clearly. After hitting an all-time high back in 2021, the company's share price has just been on this steep downward slide. What used to be seen as a super reliable blue-chip stock is now raising a lot of tough questions for investors. And to put a real number on it, we're talking about a drop of roughly 35% from those 2021 highs. That is a massive chunk of value that's just disappeared. And it's a huge red flag that the market sees some serious challenges coming down the pike. So what are these big challenges? The best way to think about it is to imagine Comcast as this impenetrable fortress that for years nobody could touch. But now, new invaders are literally breaching the walls. See, for decades, Comcast's power came from what investors call an economic moat. They spent billions building out this massive cable network to over 60 million homes. And in most places, your only real choice for fast internet was either Comcast or maybe the local phone company, which usually had much, much slower DSL. This setup gave them incredible pricing power. But that whole battlefield has completely changed. The old fight was simple. It was Comcast's fast cable against the phone company's slow internet. Easy win. The new battlefield, though? It's a multi-front war. Comcast is just not the only high-speed game in town anymore. So who are these new competitors? Well, on one side, you've got companies like AT&T who are aggressively building out these state-of-the-art fiber optic networks. And on the other side, you've got the mobile carriers. Think T-Mobile and Verizon, who are using their 5G networks for something called fixed wireless access. They're basically just beaming high-speed internet right into your home and often for a lower price. And the impact of all this, it's been pretty dramatic. In 2022, for the first time in its entire history, Comcast actually started losing broadband customers. The fortress walls were officially breached, and the company knew it had to do something, and fast. So this brings us to the counteroffensive. When you're facing a threat this big, one that you've never seen before, how exactly do you fight back? Well, their new game plan really has three key parts. First, they're bundling mobile service with their internet, sometimes giving you a free line for a year, just to make the whole package stickier. Second, they're hitting pause on those annual price hikes to simplify things. And third, they're speeding up their own network upgrades to deliver the crazy fast speeds you need to really compete with fiber. And here's something you don't hear every day. In a pretty candid moment, Comcast's own management admitted they were caught flat-footed. They actually said, "We had been slow to respond." That's a stunning admission, and it just shows you how serious they're taking this new threat. So what all this really means is that Comcast is making a strategic trade-off. They're choosing to make less money right now by offering all these discounts and freebies to protect their most important asset for the long haul, that massive base of customers. It's a short-term pain for long-term gain kind of play. But hey, this big battle for broadband isn't the whole story. While that fight is raging, it's so important to remember that the Comcast kingdom has a lot of other valuable treasures that are providing a really critical buffer. You see, Comcast is really two huge companies rolled into one. You've got the main business, the connectivity and platform side, which is about 65% of the revenue. But then you have the other 35%, content and experiences, and that is a media powerhouse. We're talking NBC Universal, the Peacock streaming service, and their super profitable theme parks. And those other businesses, they are performing incredibly well right now. Just look at these recent results. While the core connectivity business saw its profits dip a bit, the content side was a major bright spot. Revenue at their theme parks, for example, shot up almost 19%. This diversification is like a powerful shield, helping to cushion the blow from the broadband wars. Okay, so let's land the plane here. We've looked at the threats, we've seen the counteroffensive, we know about their other assets. What's the final verdict for an investor? Is Comcast actually a good buy right now? It really boils down to two completely different ways of looking at it. The bear case says this new competition isn't going away, and that Comcast's golden era of easy growth is just over. The bull case, on the other hand, argues that this is all just a temporary storm. They think the new strategy will work, the other assets will keep growing, and that right now, the stock is simply too cheap to ignore.
And how cheap are we talking? Well, right now, the stock is trading at just 6.5 times what it's expected to earn this year. For a massive, profitable company like this, that is a historically low price. It tells you that the market is just deeply, deeply pessimistic about its future.
So in the end, it all comes down to one question. Is Comcast a classic value trop? A cheap stock that's only going to get cheaper as the business slowly fades? Or is this a high-quality company successfully adapting to a new world and quietly setting the stage for a huge comeback story that almost no one is watching? That's the billion-dollar question.